First half, all Boston, all Al Horford and Jaylen Brown. And you look at the effectiveness from the floor, about 12 of 15. They ended up combining for 43 points between them, along with 12 boards and 7 assists. And for Al Horford, Sam, this is, I referred to you to open the show, the OG on the set. This is the guy who's been the KG vet, an extension of everything Brad Stevens is trying to do. And we know he's been a really good player for a long time. But the last number of games, from a scoring standpoint in big spots, he really has stepped up.
Well, when you go back and look at the playoffs, early in these playoffs, every time there was a big moment or a big game, they went to Al. Al showed up big. He scored, he blocked shots, he rebounded, he played great D. The thing that I respect and love about Al Horford having him on the team is look at the growth of the young players. Al Horford being the veteran, being the big-name free agent that was signed there a few years ago, he doesn't sit there and say, this is about me because I'm the veteran, I've been deep into the playoffs. Let these young guys grow. We are a team. It's about all of us, not just me. Not once have I heard Al Horford say, my guys, my team. It's a team. And so from the standpoint of Brad Stevens has the luxury, you got the right guy with the right mentality who, look, if Jason Tatum and Brown and Smart and all those guys are scoring and Al only needs to score 10 points and get 5 rebounds for them to win, he's comfortable. But on the nights where they really need him to step up and give them 20-plus points, double-digit rebounds, and be the glue that holds this young group together, he's done that. So he's been the perfect veteran. He allowed the young players to grow and flourish, but without stifling them. But yet when they need him, he's been their rock, he's been the go-to guy, and he's come through for them in every situation.
And you know, the thing about him, too, this is another time where you really credit Danny Ainge. Because when they maxed him out, they didn't max him out thinking he's going to come in and get 24 and 12 for us. A lot of why they maxed him was because of his leadership, because of his character, and because they understood the value of playing winning basketball. A lot of times your best players, their biggest impact isn't on the stat sheet. You know, it's the calming influence that they bring. It's the fact that you know they can make all the plays. You know, like a lot of times people get caught up in the stats. It's more about the impact. And he impacts a game in so many ways because of the fact that he really doesn't have a weakness, right? He's a solid rebounder. He's a terrific face-up shooter. He's a really good post player. He blocks shots. He's a great passer. So he's a plug-and-play guy. And his style doesn't take away from the other players' growth. You know, he's not a ball-dominant guy. So for Danny Ainge to recognize that when they went after him and understanding that he's going to be such a good fit, it throws you back to the Boston Celtic days of old where they would get those kind of guys. Their numbers didn't blow you away, but all they did was win. And Al Horford kind of fits that mold, and he's been perfect for this young group.
You know, we talked about this before the game. When you say, GA, what Morris said via social media about a guy like LeBron, normally he's then going to put it on you. Got to give him a ton of credit. Look, it's one game. LeBron's one of the best players that's ever lived. But he had 24 possessions where they were matched up against each other, 5 points. So he did not only did he score the basketball.
Casey, you better stop. Because when you're reading them stats out like that,
yes,
the king is going to be listening.
I understand.
So all you're doing is add gasoline
it's
to the
only
fire.
one game, but you got to give the guy credit if
Absolutely.
he's going to talk for backing it up.
Well, listen, how about he not only did he do it defensively, he also went out and got 21 points and 10 rebounds. So he did it on both ends, and I mean, he was terrific. I mean, and again, he gives them versatility because he's got the size that you have to have against LeBron, but he's got enough lateral quickness to where LeBron couldn't blow by him. You know, he couldn't create space or separation. And while Morris did a really good job, the collective connection defensively that they have, they didn't allow a lot of cracks. Remember, the first couple plays, they had multiple deflections on possession. So when you start getting deflections, that makes those windows that you need to make those passes through smaller. That brings tension, and you saw it in terms of how I thought Cleveland played. They were indecisive with their passing and their spacing, and you really got to give a lot of credit to Boston.
Watch the difference in Game 2 with LeBron. Tonight he started the game because his teammates had played so well when they swept Toronto, trying to get everybody involved. Game 2, he's going to come out and try to grab this game, and he's going to be ultra-aggressive because what he saw in Game 1 was, my guys need me to take this game by the throat for me to get going, and then those guys come in general. And I like the thought process. Try to get everybody else going because I can get mine going within the flow. No. The way this Boston Celtics team beat you tonight, LeBron James is going to have to establish from the jump ball that he's the dominant player, and then everybody else going to have to get in where they fit in. He's got to get going first. And then second, for those guys to kind of catch up.
You know, you say this, too, if you're looking for positives out of game one in a game like this, GA, where you lose. Rodney Hood, we talked about him before the game. Look, they gave him an opportunity. He had some shots. Plays called for him. Had double digits. Tristan Thompson, again, played extremely well. They had a couple of guys off the Clarkson put up 10 points. Hasn't done that much in the playoffs. So in a game where they didn't play very well, maybe they built some confidence for some of those other players.
I don't think to me, I thought Tristan Thompson was solid. Other than that, I didn't think anybody played well. So it's not even about that. Like, from Cleveland's standpoint, and we talk about this a lot, getting blown out doesn't bother you. It doesn't, you just tip your cap to them. You know what? They were great tonight. Like we're saying, Boston was clearly the better team. Cleveland didn't look like a playoff team. So they'll make their adjustments. They'll be a much better team. The question is whether or not they win game two. Because, look, you can get beat by 30. You come back, win the next game by 1. It's 1-1. And that's really what this series is going to be about. I mean, they came in knowing, look, we got to win a game in Boston at least. And so they're going to have their second opportunity in game two. And in a weird way, Toronto losing. These are the kind of games, if you're going to lose in the playoffs, you want to get blown out. You don't want to lose the 50-50 games, because you can't get those back. And a lot of times in series, those are the ones that determine whether or not you look at the Toronto series. They lost the close games. The games that they had and could have won, they didn't win. Those are the ones that matter, and that's why this one coming up, game two, is going to be a huge one for both teams.
Plus,